financial challenges have forced a lot of school districts to cut programs, put more students in each classroom, even limit school supplies these kids have access to. But one of the most important elements in a child's education is still available to you.
Yes, indeed. Charlonda Buckman is Executive Director of Detroit Parent Network. It's a membership organization that works on all issues of parenting, especially education. She says it is crucial for parents to be actively involved in their children's education.
I mean, we've seen many studies that say just by nature of the parents showing up, it sends a message to your child first that this must be important because my parent is spending their time. They're actually coming up to the school. We know that it makes a difference in test scores because, again, the message that you're sending by showing up, by being involved, by writing notes to the teacher, by showing up at parent-teacher conference or coming to the parent organization meeting, you're sending a message to your child and to that school that you're very interested in your child's education, that you do care and that it is a priority. So it's critically important.
Parents aren't the only ones who can help out at school. Grandparents, neighbors, and community groups are welcome to get involved as well.
And joining us right now are two special guests right now with advice on ways to select the best school for your child and help make that school even better. First of all, Greg Harris, Executive Director of Excellent Schools Detroit.
And Carol Goss is President and CEO of the Skillman Foundation and the Chairman of the Board for Excellent Schools Detroit. Thank you both for coming in. Now, Greg, let's start with you. Tell us, what is your organization all about for people who really don't know?
Yeah, well, Excellent Schools Detroit is a coalition of community groups, philanthropies, the private sector. We're a $200 million philanthropic initiative that's going to build 70 excellent new schools in the Detroit area so that 90% of Detroit students by 2020 have access to an excellent school.
Carol, what are the key strategies to achieve these goals that we're talking about here?
Well, you know, last year we released a report with lots of recommendations in them, and they're around accountability. So we want to make sure that parents have the right information so they can hold schools accountable for doing a good job. We are in the process of developing a Standards and Accountability Commission. We think that every child deserves the best schools, so we want high-quality schools available to every child. And then talent, so we want the best leaders, school leaders, and then the best teachers. And if all of that happens, then we think every kid can have access to a quality school.
It's a big if.
Now, Greg, you have some lofty goals by 2020, and we're going to put up a graphic right here. 90% high school graduation rate, 90% enrollment in college or training program, and 90% of enrollees prepared to succeed without remediation. So how are we going to make this happen by 2020? Is this a difficult task?
It's a difficult task. We're taking an all-hands-on-deck approach to making it happen. But we've already made significant inroads. I mean, just in the last year alone, we've raised $50 million towards creating new schools. And we're not talking new schools for the sake of new schools, but really quality models for redesigning schools. We've hosted parent fairs to connect parents with representatives of some of our stronger schools so parents know that they have a choice. You know, in many ways our coalition is responding to a parents movement. About 40% of Detroit parents have actually already left the public school system looking for strong alternatives. Yeah. And some of those alternatives have not been as strong as they should be, so we're going to create the strong alternatives for the parents.
Carol, let's talk about this concept of charter schools, which is such a hot-button issue. Is there a need for something like that? Does it fit into your plan?
Well, you know, our work is about all schools. So it's about charter schools, it's about Detroit public schools or private schools. What we want to make sure is that these are quality schools. So just the mere fact that it is a charter school doesn't mean that it would be good. So it has to be about quality for kids.
Greg, before we run out of time, Carol's mentioned a report card that parents can get their hands on and they can check out all of the schools everywhere. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and you can see the report card at our website, excellentschoolsdetroit.org. But the report card, just like a child is graded in school, it grades every single school in the Detroit area. And so it arms parents with the information they need to know. Do I keep my child in their current school, or I try to shop for alternatives, and we try to guide parents to the better alternatives.
Now, and the good thing to mention is you're putting the grade on suburban schools as well, not just schools in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, some suburban schools that now have majority Detroit students.
Last question. Obviously, this has to somehow dovetail with what has been started by Robert Bobb and whoever is eventually going to be controlling Detroit Public Schools, which may not be a school board, it may still be an emergency financial manager.
It absolutely does. And Detroit Public Schools is a part of Excellent Schools Detroit. It's part of this coalition. And what we hope is that everything that they do is about children, and it's about quality schools for all children.
So working together is the key then.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, we thank you both for being here with us today. Thanks for taking the time. We certainly hope the best. We know you're a public school product, and you said you also.
I am also, yes.
Very good. So congratulations to both of you, and the best for the futures of Detroit Public Schools.
Absolutely.